Hi and Assalamualaikum to everyone. My name is Muhammad Amirul Bin Mohamad and today I will be doing my final year project presentation entitled Investigation of 5mm ABS sheet formability using concave type of mold via vacuum forming process. I was supervised by IR Dr. Novia binti Yusuf and Dr. Noliana binti Muhammad Abbas during executing my final year project. Now let's start with abstract. What is vacuum forming? Vacuum forming is one of the oldest and common method of processing plastic material. It is a very versatile process used to manufacture wide range of products from a simple packaging trays to high impact aircraft cockpit covers. It is also used extensively to make design prototypes of product by other process, as it known for the least complicated and the cheapest process to form a plastic sheet. However, the use of thick plastic plate with 5mm thickness of the raw material is not fully explored. This has the potential to challenge the injection molding process, which require high energy male and female mold and a larger space area for the machine. Therefore, this study is to aim to investigate the suitable parameter to form 5mm concave shape of acrylonitrile butadiene citrine, which known as ABS material. To achieve this, there are four main factors that were understudied in determining the suitable parameter for molding the 5mm thickness ABS sheet, such as heating distance, heating temperature, heating time, and last is the voltage of vacuum suction. It is expected that good surface finish and good dimensional accuracy can be achieved at suitable experimental parameter setting. The experimental plan was generated using design of experiment DOE approach. From here, the effect of each factor of the performance that is aimed for the concave shape of 5mm ABS materials in relation to its response factor, surface roughness, were investigated. It is important to identify which factors or variables that give the significant effect to the concave shape product formability of the 5mm ABS material. This useful insight is needed before the optimization process can be done. Hence, with this input, further improvement of the 5mm thickness ABS sheet formability using the vacuum forming process can be explored accordingly. Next is the introduction, where I will start with the problem statement. There are two problems that are encountered and needed to be solved in this project, which are: first, the difficult to achieve good surface finish and good dimensional accuracy on concave shape product by using ABS of 5mm thickness by using the FKM mini vacuum forming machine. And second is the suitable forming parameter such as heating distance, heating time, heating temperature, and voltage of vacuum suction must be determined. From the problem statement before, there are three objectives created for this project to solve the problem, which are: first, to investigate the influence of heating distance, heating temperature, heating time, and voltage of vacuum suction of the vacuum forming process for the concave shaped plastic plate. Second is to identify the significant variable of the vacuum forming process of the concave shape of plastic plate. And lastly is to optimize the parameter for vacuum forming process of the concave shape of plastic plate. Moving on to the scope of project. The scope of this project is to identify the significant variable of vacuum forming process and its heating distance, heating temperature, heating time, and the voltage of vacuum suction on the concave shape of 5mm ABS plastic plate by using the previous self-developed vacuum forming machine, which is the FKM mini vacuum forming machine. Design of experiment DOE in Minitab software will be used to determine the significant number of screening experiments to be conducted for the experiment. Machine capability will be tested before running the experiment by using 3 5mm ABS plastic plates. Results of this experiment are used to analyze the data and predict the quality of product produced. Thus, the suitable parameter of vacuum forming 5mm ABS plastic plate will be obtained. The selected parameter are voltage of vacuum suction, number of heater used, oven temperature, heating distance, and suction time. Next is the methodology, where the entire methodology chosen for this project consists of literature review, papers, posts, theses, books, and the person with experience. The technique is diverged into three parts. The first part focuses on the issue detection from previous evaluated samples, and the literature review and journals are used to perform analysis. Next part is the design of experiment and experimental analysis, and the last part runs the experiment and analyze the obtained data. I will start with the first part, which are the problem identification, where the observation of the defects from the previous tested samples has been studied by using the magnifying glass. It is to determine the suitable parameter used among the tested samples. It has been identified that the suitable parameter that has been used in the 5mm plastic plate of the thickness is heated on the bottom surface with 220 volt of voltage of vacuum suction and at 10 centimeter heating distance as shown in table 1. Based on the table 1, it can be observed that the specimen is completely formed but have bubbles on the convex side. Next is the literature review. This research work has been done by reading and analyzing the relevant journals, articles, websites, and theses in order to gain more information regarding the vacuum forming process. Then, early information or the primary source of the type of software normally the scholar used to design the mold and the parameters that are needed to be considered for the vacuum forming process were gathered. Literature review are designed to provide an overview of the vacuum forming process that was found while researching the topic and to have a further and better perspective of the typical vacuum forming process. Next is the DOE plan. Minitab statistical software is used to develop a DOE plan for the experimental running of the workability test. There are 4 primary factors that have already been identified for the experiment, which are the heating distance, heating temperature, heating time, and voltage of vacuum suction as presented in table 2. For the purpose of the screening activity, a full factorial design was selected and the DOE plan was generated as tabulated in table 3. Next is the analysis of experiment. The apparatus used in these experiments are voltage regulator, vacuum gauge, vacuum machine, electric oven, oven thermometer, surface roughness tester as a reference. As shown in the figure 1, the oven thermometer is placed inside the electrical oven. The oven temperature, part heating distance, voltage of vacuum suction, and the heating time are set to accordance with the DOE scheme as shown in table 3. To test the concave shape formability of the 5mm ABS plastic plate in the extended set time, the surface roughness value of the 5mm ABS concave shape vacuum forming output response is then recorded and analyzed. Next is the machine capability test. Machine capability is a test run before conducting the real experiment. The testing consists of 3 major components, which are the voltage regulator, vacuum gauge, and heating element. The 3 specimens are tested are then heated for 600 seconds until approaching its melting temperature. The specimen was then formed into a targeted solid shape using the vacuum forming process. Voltage regulator was set according to the experimental plan setting. Consequently, varies the vacuum pump speed. The vacuum gauge was installed to the experimental setup as a means to ensure that the vacuum forming process was successfully took place. The vacuum gauge indicates the value during the vacuum suction process, hence denotes the equipment is working perfectly. The result of the three material tested is as presented in Table 4. Lastly is the data collection and analysis of result. In this stage, an experiment was done by forming 13 specimen ABS sheet materials according to the DOE plan in Table 3. These data were further analyzed using the analysis of variance known as ANOVA that is readily available in the Minitab. Under this ANOVA function, there are the main effect plot and the multiple interaction plot that were selected. These two plots help narrowing down which variables are the most significant factors affecting quality of the final molded part surface roughness. The response factor that was measured in this experiment is the final molded part surface roughness. Each of the molded specimen, as stated in the DOE plan in Table 2, will examine its surface roughness using the Mitutoyo Surf Test SV600. Table 5 shows the obtained result was sorted according to the heating distance setting 6 cm, 9 cm, and 12 cm respectively. Next is the result and discussion, where all the outcomes are revealed from the start to the finish of this project. It includes the detailed explanation and discussion of the outcome and analysis for this study. All the findings obtained in this analysis are displayed in the images, tables, and graphs. I will start with the first result, which are the vacuum forming process results. During this vacuum forming process, the constant parameter that was set throughout the experiment are the thickness of the 5 mm ABS sheet, the type of mold used, which are the fog lamp cover mold, the source of heating element, which we use the bottom end, and the heating time, which is 600 seconds, equivalent to 10 minutes. Table 5 shows the effect of selected parameter on the surface roughness from the experiment, and based on the Table 5, it shows the value of surface roughness are inconsistent when using different parameter settings. In this range parameter, the results shown the parameter used in the experiment number 3, number 7, and number 11 in the Table 6 shows a good formability during the vacuum forming process. Table 6 shows the best selected result among the 13 experiments conducted of the ABS fog lamp cover with different parameter used. The related data was recorded in Table 5. It is observed that the 3 specimen has a smooth and complete shape of the fog lamp cover compared to the other 13 specimen. Next result is the analyzing the ANOVA results. The experimental plan used in this study was generated using the Minitab statistical software. Full factorial DOE plan was generated that consists of 13 runs with different combination of variables as tabulated in Table 3. The response factor of the DOE is the surface roughness value. The experimental data from Table 5 were then analyzed using analysis of variance ANOVA that is available in the Minitab. The main effect plot and interaction plot are selected in the analysis. The response factor is set as the surface roughness value, and the other factors are set as heating distance, heating temperature, heating time, and voltage of vacuum suction. These factor settings were then used to generate the main effect plot and surface roughness, and the interaction plot for the surface roughness. The main effect plot shows that the heating distance and heating temperature are the most significant factors in affecting the surface roughness value. This finding was further confirmed using the interaction plot. When performing a statistical analysis, one of the simplest graphical tools at our disposal is a main effect plot. This plot is generated by using ANOVA in the Minitab software, and it shows the average outcome for each value of each variable, combining the effect of the other variable as if all the variables were independent. Based on Figure 3, it shows that the average for heating distance at 9 cm has the highest mean surface roughness, while the average of voltage of vacuum suction is the lowest mean surface roughness, and heating temperature at 130 degrees Celsius lies on the mean line surface roughness value. The plot of main effect is basic and does not include much detail. It is simplistic and deceptive to display only the principal effect of each factor level without taking into consideration of the levels of other factors. Another interactive statistical method that is available to us, it is called an interaction plot. This form of chart shows the effects that are not independent between variables, such as plots. Look like the charts here. In this interaction plot, figure 4 shows the lines are not parallel. The interaction effect indicates that the relationship between the heating temperature and voltage of vacuum suction depends on the heating distance. For example, if you use the heating temperature at 150 degrees Celsius, the surface roughness is at the highest mean value when the heating distance is at the 9 cm. However, if you use the voltage of vacuum suction at 185 volt, heating distance of 9 cm is still associated with the highest mean surface roughness. The result indicates that the interaction between the heating temperature and voltage of the vacuum suction showing that the heating distance is a significant factor. Figure 4 shows the interaction plot. Narrow down the findings by highlighting that the heating distance is the most significant factor in forming concave shape of 5 mm ABS plastic plate. Using the self-developed vacuum forming machine as compared to the heating temperature. However, the heating temperature factor also needs a special attention as it does contribute to the overall vacuuming forming process performance. Lastly, for the voltage setting 150 volt to 185 volt with notable drop at 220 volt, this finding is actually the future research exploration opportunity to further investigate the effect of the surface roughness value in this aspect. The next result is the problems and defects recorded. During the experiment, there were many flaws and issues that could prolong the processing time and reduce the product quality. Most of the significant thermoforming problems observed can be traced back to the insufficient process control. Improper sheet temperature is the primary source of the problem at forming. Inadequate vacuum forming control and insufficient cooling system are also common causes. Table 7 provide list of thermoforming flaws and deformities along with the suggested course of action to fix or remove processing problems. For example, the number 1, the problems and defects are present are the improper release of mold which is caused by the part is too hot, and the solution is by raise the cooling rate or diminish the temperature of mold. Second is the bubble present on the concave or the convex part, which caused by overheating of the part or uneven heating of the part. It can be prevented by lower the heater temperature or reduce the bottom heater. The third defect that are visible and recorded are the lack of definition, means that the part is not fully shaped or fully formed because of the material is too cold or insufficient vacuum. It can be prevented by increasing the heating time or increase the heater temperature, and also increase the number or diameter of the vacuum holes. And lastly is a warp edge, which caused because of the improper temperature control. It can be prevented by check for uneven heating condition. The last part is the conclusion. In conclusion, the screening DOE approach and ANOVA analysis used in this study provides important insight and structured investigation in identifying the most significant factors influencing the 5 mm concave shape of the ABS plastic plate, formability, and surface roughness value. However, the experiment needs to be replicated in ensuring the consistency of the result and eventually validate the correlation found from the study. The data observed and measured will achieve all the objectives was listed before. Experiment number 11 shows the highest surface roughness value for 5mm ABS thickness material when the heating distance is at 6 cm and the oven temperature was set up to 130 degrees Celsius from bottom heater, while the voltage regulated to 120 volt. Alhamdulillah, I think that is all from me. I am thankful for your time and your presence, for hearing my presentation. And with that, I end with Assalamualaikum and Salam Sejahtera.